Thank you, everyone, for having me. Is it on? Is it on? I'm so nervous about that from last week. I love the vision board thing because, at the time that I'm going to tell my story, I had put together a vision board, and now 7 years later, 8 years later, all my things on my vision board have come true. So vision boards are so spectacular. I grew up with a dad who, he ran a marathon. He actually ran the original marathon in Greece, Athens, and in Athens, Greece, I should say, and he would come home from work and he'd go running, and he would, that's how he kind of de-stressed from his stressful job. And so I would always try to go running, and I would maybe get a half mile in and I'd say, oh, I can't do this. And I created in my life a statement that said I was not a runner. And so forever, I just thought I was not a runner. And so in San Diego, right before I left to move to Bend, I lived really close to this street, and I lived in the downtown area, and there was a street that had this incline that was like this steep. And I thought, let me just set this little goal, and what the goal will be is I'll run up the hill 10 times. Okay, that's the only goal that I had. It wasn't that I wanted to be a runner or change that vision or that statement that I had in my mind. I just wanted to make that hill 10 times. And so I would go to that hill, to the bottom of the hill, and I would run once, and then I'd walk 9 times. And then I'd go the next day, and I'd run maybe 1.5 times, and then walk the rest. And so finally, I got to the point where I was running 10 times. And it was unbelievable. I thought, oh my God, I can't even believe I can run this hill. It was so hard. I was sweating. And finally I got to that 10th time where I was running the hill, and I thought, oh, I could keep on going. And so I ended up running along the whole neighborhood and going all around, and I was just so high on life thinking, oh my gosh, I'm running. This is amazing. I can't even believe it. And I went home, and this is before I knew about Garmin and all the clocking stuff that you can do with technology now. And I clocked it, and I had run 7 miles. And I thought to myself, holy wow, this is amazing. I just kind of shattered this belief that I'm not a runner, and here I am 7 miles and feeling in love with the process. And so I thought to myself, geez, what other things in my life am I telling myself that I can't do that are so in my reach and so capable just by setting little goals to get there? You know, because it was just this one little goal of running up this hill 10 times, and I didn't do it the first time, but I kept on going back. And so after that, I ran that 7-mile run, and I thought, oh man, what else can I do? So I went crazy, and I signed up for a half Ironman. And so I didn't own a bike at the time, and I didn't know how to swim either. But I paid $550 to sign up for this race that I really didn't know what I was doing. So again, I took that same strategy of setting small goals, and I did the same thing. I joined a swim group, and I learned how to swim. I joined a triathlon group and surrounded myself with people who were doing the same things that I wanted to attain. I was talking to someone about how I signed up for the half Ironman, and they said, well, have you even done a triathlon? And I said, no, I haven't. And they go, well, I really think it's important that you might consider just doing like a sprint triathlon, which is like the smallest one. And so I said, okay. So I signed up for a small sprint triathlon, and this is all in San Diego. And my dad was like, all right, well, what bike are you going to use? And I said, oh, I don't know, you know. And so we went to a thrift store the night before, bought a bike. And this bike had the gears on the frame. You know, and now I don't know if anybody knows about triathlons now. I mean, the triathlon bikes that they have, they're like aerodynamic. And, you know, you could shift with like just pressing a button now. But I entered this triathlon, and it was total sufferfest. I didn't realize what the heck I had gotten myself into. I went into the swim, I couldn't even put my head into the water. I was so nervous, and I really didn't even know how to swim at that time. So I had to get a swim buddy, but I didn't lose hope. And I thought, okay, that's a great starting ground to work with. And so from there, I just kept on training, surrounding myself with the people who were going to get me to that place. Every Sunday, I would go on my long bike ride, and the day came where I was to enter my first half Ironman. And for those of you who don't know what a half Ironman is, it's a 1.2 mile swim, a 56-mile bike ride, and then a 13.1 mile run. So it was a lot. Like looking back, I go, I can't even believe that I did that. But I did it, and then I went on to do 3 more, and then I also went on to enter into a Ironman. And I have to say, I didn't complete that full Ironman, but I learned so much on the way about myself and about what I'm capable of doing and about not giving up. And really the point is that if there is a limiting belief that you have in your brain, in your subconscious, that's in there that's telling you that you cannot do something because of something that you were told or that you just believed because of whatever reasons, there's so many that are out there, really evaluate what that belief is and ask yourself if it's really true. And ask yourself, what are the little steps you need to take in order to take away that belief and to take away that self-doubt and to take away that, I don't know, you know what it is. You all know what it is. And I'm sure every one of you have a belief that doesn't serve you. And it's time now, especially as we're ending this year, to really evaluate what your belief system is and knock out those ones that aren't going to serve you and go into 2019 with some positive beliefs and some positive goals and positive strategies to get yourself to the point where you're saying, you know, you're looking back at where you were a year or 2 years or 3 years down the road or down the way and saying, wow, look where I've come. Because I'm not here to say that I was an excellent triathlete. I was middle of the pack. I didn't even finish that full triathlon, the full Ironman, but along the way, I learned so many lessons about myself and about what I was capable of. And I met so many friends that I still have today that without that experience, I would just not have had. And without just taking that one step and going to that hill and being embarrassed, really, while I was going through the steps of gaining that goal of running 10 times up that hill. You know, you just have to start one place and go from there. So I would just encourage you all to step out of your comfort zone, get rid of those self-limiting beliefs, and believe in yourself.